Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Swagman CURRENT 2-bike platform style bike rack for e-bikes on a 2023 Tesla Model 3. Now this bike rack is going to be a great option whether you have an 1.25" hitch or a 2" hitch, because it comes with the availability to be able to be used in both configurations. Now, being that this is rated for e-bikes, that means that generally your e-bikes are going to be a little bit heavier, but this one's rated at 60 pounds per bike, and you have 2 bikes, so with the weight of that, plus 2 bikes loaded up, as long as you're adhering to that weight, it should be fine, even on a Class 1 hitch. So, and you can have your electric bikes right behind your electric car, and the name Current kind of goes with that as well. And platform style bike racks, I'm a big fan of compared to your hanging style, just because it's way more secure. And you have 3 points of contact here that keep that in place. And the first one being your frame mount here, which is going to ratchet down nice and tight against the frame. It's going to work with a bunch of different styles of frames also. So that's really nice. Now keep in mind with carbon fiber frames, you don't want to put a frame mount. It's going to put stress on that frame. You're going to want to look for a wheel mount with that. But also moving along to each wheel, we have these ratcheting straps here, which give you a nice solid click to let you know that it's ratcheting down. And you also have some rubber here that's going to go against your rim. That way it's not going to get scratched. The cradles are nice and wide too, so it's going to accommodate a bunch of different sizes of tires. And it's even got a nice little narrow path in here. So if you have a road bike, not to worry, but even some wider tire bikes are going to fit on here perfect. Now, if you're a rider like me and you're headed to the trailhead, you keep all your stuff in the back of the trunk. Not to worry, you don't have to worry about squeezing in here. It does have the tilt function, so you just simply pull this lever, and that's going to allow this tilting function, even with the bikes on there, to be able to gain access to your trunk with no problem. So even if you're just going to the grocery store after riding, you have plenty of access to your trunk. Now this bike isn't particularly long, but some of your wider mountain bikes with a longer wheelbase, you can adjust to accommodate for that. You just simply twist this, you can slide it back, and that way you can get a perfect fit on your bike and know that it's nice and secure. And going along with that ratcheting is really nice to know that your bike is secure, and that goes along here with the frame mount. You just simply push this down all the way until you hear it click into place, and you can actually lock this. It comes with keys that are going to work here to be able to lock this in. That way no one's going to walk away with your bike. You can leave it here and it's going to stay on there. That also goes along with the anti-rattle hitch bolt, which I'll show you a little bit later. When you are ready to remove your bike, it's pretty easy here. You just push this back. That's going to release our wheel straps. We'll get these here out of the way. And the bike is going to be still supported by that frame mount. And that means you can get a nice hold here on the frame as you raise this up. Now, if you want to, you can actually clear this out of the way as well by just simply pulling this latch. And this is going to kind of fold out of the way here, making it nice and easy to where you can get your bike off without having to lift over it. Now keep in mind, in this position, you are going to be adding quite a bit of length to your vehicle. So from the furthest point of the rear fascia to the furthest point on the bike rack, you're looking right at about 26 inches. So just, again, keep that in mind if you're backing into your garage or into a place that you normally back into, you do have this kind of sticking out. But I do like, as you can see here, it is raised up for your bikes a little bit, so it's going to have a little bit more clearance. You don't have to worry about your bikes ever hitting the ground. It is fairly low here, so just kind of, again, keep that in mind when driving, when you go up inclines or if you're on some rocky or rough terrain. Now, if you don't have your bikes on the rack, not to worry, you are going to save a little space here because it does go into a stowed position by just lifting this up, and then this drops into place like that. And that way you can leave it on your car. It's not going to take up a bunch of space, and that's going to cut it down quite a bit. So from the rear fascia to the furthest point now, we're looking at 15 inches, so not a whole heck of a lot added on to the back of your vehicle. Now, as far as making contact with your fascia when it's folded up, this center section here, you have 4 inches, and even from the wheel cradles, you still have right at that same about 4. So it contours pretty well with the rear fascia. So again, you're not have to worry about this making any scratches on the back of your bumper. Now, I mentioned earlier about that anti-rattle hitch bolt that's locking. This does come with the bike rack, and what's really nice is there's a threaded section in the receiver here of our bike, and so when we tighten that shank down, it's going to cinch it up against the inside of the receiver tube opening, and that way it's going to reduce any rattle inside of the hitch. So I have it tightened down, and you may get a little bit of wobble from the bike rack, but as far as rattling inside of the receiver tube opening, you're not going to have any. And then once it's tightened in place, you can lock that in. It's going to use the same key as the locking mechanism on the frame mount. Overall, this bike rack checks a lot of boxes. It's a platform style, which I really like. You also have the ability to not only have a 2-inch, but an 1.25 inch like we have here. So even if you get a different vehicle down the road, it's gonna work well with that. So that's really nice. This is a bike rack that you can use a long time, and it's gonna hold up to e-bikes. So really, no matter what bike you get or what car you get, this bike rack will continue on. But on our Tesla, this is a great option. And so hopefully this helps determine if this is gonna be a good fit for you.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action. This simulates turning corners or evasively maneuvering. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Once we get to the full speed bumps, we'll see the up and down action. This will be just like driving in and out of a parking lot, parking garage, or driveway.